Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for watching. First of all, yesterday I did a video and a lot of you guys see me back in the comment section and you were like, yo, DW has actually a video, like a really much more in-depth video of that exact castle. And I was like, no way, I'm gonna check it out for sure because I'm trying to see inside of it, because it was pretty cool seeing that video earlier. And it was like, oh wait a minute, what, this is how cool this is. So new day, new video. We're going to be checking out the same damn thing, but a little bit more in depth. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate that. Leave the, suggestions in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe, man. And yeah, without further ado, let's get right into this video.
Imagine waking up here, gazing out of the window from one of your many towers and surveying the surrounding forest in the morning sunshine. Life in a fairy tale castle. Surely that's everyone's dream. But is it really as good as it sounds?
Today I'm at Eltz Castle to find out what it's really like. This castle has been inhabited by the same family for over 800 years, so they seem like the best people to ask.
The Eltz family have managed to keep the castle in their hands over the last 8 centuries through careful diplomacy and smart marriages. The castle even used to be featured on the 500 Deutsche Mark bill.
And the castle has become a particularly famous Instagram hotspot in recent years as well.
With over 100,000 posts, Instagram has helped
Wow.
the castle reach younger and more international tourists. It's a 15-minute walk through the forest to get to the castle.
15!
Hidden away in this wooded valley, it's several miles away from the closest town. You would definitely have your own peace and quiet here.
I mean, wow, come on, that really does look like something out of a fairy tale, right?
It does.
Borg Eltz was designed more for looks than defense. It's more of a grand home than a medieval fortress.
It's a really nice walk here through the woods, but it might be a little bit inconvenient living in a castle that was tucked away in the middle of nowhere. I mean, what if you wanted to order takeout in the middle of the night? Although, I guess if you lived in a castle, you would probably have a private chef.
Exactly. What are we
We'll
talking
find
about?
out if that's
We talking about no takeoff. Come on now. Like, dude, if I have a castle, there's got to be a chef in there cooking me good food. Not no takeout, no, not duh. Come on, man. Come on. That garbage food, nah, we need that good food up in that castle, but it's quite a flex to say, whomever the family is regarding this, it's quite a flex to say this family has had this house or castle for 8+ hundred years, so crazy.
True later on. I've finally made it. What an entrance.
Well, at first glance, it certainly seems quite impressive, doesn't it?
Borg Eltz was built in the prime of medieval castle construction, between the 11th and 13th centuries, deliberately near the Mosel River, historically one of the most important trade routes in Germany. Nowadays, whilst it's obviously beautiful, I think living here could come with its challenges. The seclusion that protected it in the past might make modern life here more remote than most of us are used to. And these stone walls must be...
Ain't no not stone decision. 15-minute walk just to get to that. She said it was a couple of miles, bro. I walked 8 miles before in my life. Hey, come on now. That's not bad. That would listen. Me personally, I think a lot of Europeans probably would struggle with this because I think Europeans are so used to everything being, there for them. But I don't really think a lot of Americans would struggle with this. I genuinely don't. Maybe in terms of a neighbor structure and you don't have neighbors and stuff like that, maybe. But I don't think Americans would struggle with this. Definitely not. You Germans can let me know in the comment section down below if you would struggle, to live in a place where, no community or whatever. But, shops are far away. I don't even think Germans would struggle with that. I genuinely don't.
expensive to heat in the winter.
Okay, now I want to see
And yeah, I missed that part, the expensive to heat in the winter, but it's a castle. You're rich.
if other people can imagine living here and what it would be like.
Really nice, I would say, because in the middle of the forest and something like this, huge, and it would be really nice to live in this kind of place.
During the day, yes. At
But
night,
night, I can
Yeah.
imagine how it would be like.
It's
Ja, ich habe
scary.
schon während der Führung gesagt, dass ich den Erben heiraten muss, damit ich hier wohnen kann.
Well, it would be awesome because you know, I mean, with this really beautiful views that we have around the area, it would be really, really beautiful. I mean, to clean it would be quite difficult, but I guess if I have the money to live in a castle, I could have the money to have some people to help us.
Do you think, what would it be like to actually live here? Would you want to?
Oh yeah, 100%. That'd be no doubt. I wouldn't like the tourists, alright.
It's quite a medieval castle. It's maybe quite difficult to heat, especially with the upcoming oil crisis.
I'd be alright with that. I like cold, so.
Tell him again, big dog. Tell him again, big dog. What mama going on? What you talking about? Oh, it's gonna be cold, man. Matter of fact, it's negative, like so cold out here. Actually, while I'm making this video, it's like negative 24, 25 right now outside here in Finland, which is kind of crazy. But nah, the thing is, literally, if you have a castle, you don't have to be worried about food. You don't have to be worried about cleaning it. You don't have to be worried about heating it, because you got bread. It doesn't matter how expensive anything is. You have a castle. That's bread. And shit, me personally, if I meet my state right now and they're like, yo, my boy, hey, this castle, we're giving this to you. I'm gonna rent that. Not rent it out. Sorry, I'm gonna have it as a tourist attraction. Folks come through, they look at it, and then they gotta dip out. Just one section where I live in, and that's it. That's how I'm gonna financially support the damn. Easy.
Extra layers of clothing would be grand. Maybe
Exactly.
no sheepskin or something like that.
Exactly.
Time to see what it looks like on the inside.
That's what I'm waiting for.
I want to find out what life here would have been like during medieval times, but also what it's like to live here today.
So of course we don't have any access into the private quarters of the family that lives here right now, but the man who resides over the whole castle, or the lord of the manor, I guess you could call him, has agreed to give me a private tour of the rest of the castle.
Count Jakob von and zu Eltz took over the castle ownership from his father in 2018. He has another home in the area, but regularly spends time here at Burg Eltz, where he grew up.
He grew up.
When was the last time you actually spent the night here? Is that something that you do often?
Yeah, I do it quite regularly. So the last time I spent the night here was about a week ago.
And is it something that you consider a luxury being inside this castle? I know a lot of people would. I wonder what it's like for you.
It's certainly special. I wouldn't necessarily call it luxury.
He grew up there.
We do have all the modern amenities, but it's still a castle, and castles were never really luxurious. They were purpose-built, so it's not as luxurious as maybe someone would hope, but it does certainly feel special.
This castle certainly has a certain atmosphere, of course. Is that something that you still experience?
Especially once...
He says it was purpose-built. Like, if anybody in the conversation actually has a video to, illustrate what the purpose of a castle was, because I've never actually known that. I thought it was just like, them big boys back in the day had the castle. The boys with the chains, the kings and emperors, not empires, had those, but he's saying it was purpose-built. So if you guys know any videos, just let me know in the conversation so I can actually learn about castles.
People have left in the evenings and it gets quiet and you're in nature. It has a very, very special atmosphere, and there's also a kind of a sense of belonging here, where for some reason I just feel totally at home.
Well, perhaps you can show me around more of your home.
I would absolutely love to.
Thank you.
So one of my favorite features in this room is this alcove. You had a problem because this is one of the lower floors and you wanted to do many things here, amongst them also pray and read Mass. But there was a law back then which stated that you weren't allowed to place yourself above God, and that also meant you weren't allowed to live above the house of God. So the only way to do that was to build an alcove which had its own roof, and above the roof was only the sky. And so you could still use the floor above whilst being able to read Mass here. And
Makes
so
sense.
you actually kept
Makes
the law
sense.
in letter, if not necessarily in spirit.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That is very beautiful. Like, I think a lot of people has, a lot of hostility towards religious things, because, well, some religious people might be hostile towards other people who are not religious, but I respect it. You know what I mean? It's something that you got to just admire and embrace other people's culture and how, they view things, because what they're saying is just truth. Like, if you had a God, you wouldn't want to feel as if it's being disrespected, right? So I do understand that exactly what he's saying. Is that a bathroom? What is this? Is that a bed? What is that?
So the bed is actually a lot larger than it looks. It's about 1.80 meters wide and 2.10 meters long.
Oh,
And
that's
the
a king
reason for
size
that is
practically.
because the whole family would sleep in there. So it would be both the parents as well as the children.
Wow.
Well, it was in order to preserve the heat. That's why you have the curtains. And that's also why it's built up. Because you wanted to
Hot air
catch
rises.
the rising heat. That's
Hey, that's what I love with the old folks, boy. They knew they shit, boy. Hot air rises, my dude. Cold air is down there. Like, dude, the physics, man. Not the, is it physics? Is it physics? Physics, chemistry, physics, chemistry. I don't know. I haven't done this in a million years, so my brain's not really locked in. I'm kind of stupid right now, but yeah, y'all get the point. Like, the older folks knew what the hell they was doing, bro. You hear what he just said? The curtains, everybody slept there because the body heat, bro. Like, people don't understand these things. Like, everybody was worried about being cold, bro. Nah, it's real life, bro. Like, real life shit, bro.
And people usually climb into bed, and today we usually fall into bed.
The
Crazy.
theme painted across the bedroom walls is a playful one. It's full of phallic and fertility symbols.
Ooh, this is where we feast.
So this is what you could imagine the living room of a wealthy family in medieval ages to have looked like. One of the most visually attractive things are the two tapestries that are hanging here. Now, tapestries evolved in the 14th century or even earlier because you would put cloth up in order to make the room warmer and more comfortable. The walls are up to 1.5 meters thick. So obviously they were very cool. The artists had heard stories of fabled plants and animals from people who had gone traveling around the world, but had never actually seen them themselves. So the animals and plants you see here, you'll see some aspects that seem familiar, but overall they are, not how the animals look in real life.
True,
Right.
the faces are a little bit warped somehow.
Yeah. Light was really expensive. You only had candles, and so you built these in order to use the sunlight for as long as possible for working, because you couldn't afford to light candles all the time.
I mean, there's also something quite idyllic about looking out at that beautiful view and sitting at the window, isn't there?
It is, though I think back then people might not necessarily have had the time to spend idling and looking out. Life in the medieval ages was very, very tough, and there was very little time to just idyllically look out and reflect on life.
And enjoy
Dang.
the view.
So this is one of about 40 fireplaces in the castle. With about 80 rooms. That means every second room had a fireplace, which was an extraordinary luxury at the
Goodness.
time.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And they all had iron or cast iron backs, which heated up, and once they were hot, you could pick them up with certain tongs and bring them to the next room, which didn't have a fireplace, and that would give off the heat.
It's very innovative.
It is.
Smart.
So a castle like this probably requires quite a lot of upkeep, am I right?
Oh, it certainly does. We are constantly renovating, repairing. There's always something that needs to be done all the time. It takes a lot of energy and also a lot of finances, which is why we're so grateful for our guests, because without them, none of this would be possible.
Yeah, of course, it must be quite an expensive task. So are you very reliant on tourists?
Oh, we are absolutely reliant. Without tourists, it would be impossible to upkeep this place. We are very fortunate to also get help from the government and the county, both financial help as well as help with the knowledge and the people who really know the stuff and help us in every way they can. But it would be financially impossible to upkeep the castle without our guests.
I love this guy's honesty and transparency. Like, you know, it's really beautiful to, you know, give credit where credit is due, because it's the exact example I gave earlier. I was like, dude, if I had this castle, I'd literally allow people to come there, the tourist, and, you know, visit and so on and so forth and experience it. And then they leave and, you know, you pay a little, you know, to whatever, you know what I mean? And that's how you maintain that joint.
So this is one of my favorite pieces as well, because it's a big wooden chopping block. It's not actually stonified. It's just the blood and the grease and the, you know, grime from centuries.
Really?
But the wonderful thing about it is this house was finished in 1311, and this is the first floor, so it's the lowest room as well.
Oh.
And we measured it, and the chopping block fits neither through the window nor through the door. So it must have been here when they finished this room.
Wow, so this is probably one of the oldest pieces in this area,
castle,
then.
Absolutely.
In the whole castle.
Wow.
Very nice.
Wow. That's crazy.
I mean, kitchens are something that everyone can also relate to, even though this doesn't look like anyone's modern day kitchen. I assume this isn't where your meals are cooked when you live here?
No, it's not. It's not. It's actually one of 3 kitchens, though, and this is from a different line of the Eltz family. So our kitchen is somewhere else, and it's now been modernized. But it's not that dissimilar. I mean, you have an oven. It's a bread oven. You have a heating place. You have a table where you can sit down and enjoy a meal. You have a place where you can wash your dishes.
So pretty much this whole Eltz family, it's the entire like family. It's not just, you know, mom and dad. It's mom and dad and dad's brother and dad's sister and dad's brothers and dad's mom and sisters. Like, wow. So it's really a family.
You have a chopping block. You even have a fridge.
Well, hats off to German technology. But what's it like then for you when you're staying here? I mean, do you have dozens of staff waiting on you? Do you cook your own meals?
No, I absolutely cook my own meals.
That's right,
I have absolutely no staff looking after me here. No, those days are very long gone.
Very long gone.
I live a very modern life, and I don't have any staff looking after me.
I guess for many people it would feel unusual living in a castle, but your life day to day, even if you spend it here, probably looks much the same as other people's. Is that right?
Well, absolutely. It's especially now that you have home office, because I work here, so you know I get out my laptop in the mornings and I drink my coffee that I made myself in my kitchen and in my coffee machine, and I'll answer my emails, and so yeah, no, I think most people would recognize it as being very similar to their own lives. I'm just very, very fortunate that the surroundings are very beautiful.
Well, thank you so much for meeting with me.
You're most welcome.
It was lovely to chat to you and to hear about your story.
It's great meeting you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pretty sick, dog.
Well, there you have it. Life in a medieval castle. It has a certain flair, right? Maybe it's not quite the fairy tale lifestyle that you might expect, and sure, it would be cold in the winter, but wouldn't it all be worth it just to have this whole place and the whole surrounding area all to yourself?
Hey, if I had that for myself, I'm good, bro. I ain't worried about nothing, no cold, no nothing. Like, you can figure out ways how to be straight in there. You know, you ain't gotta, be all stressed out and worried about nothing. Like, I'd imagine that that place is, quite, what you'd say, cold in a sense. However, when you think about the fact that it's surrounded by a freaking mountain, like, you can clearly see it's down in the valley, right? So wind is not going to bother you. That's one thing for sure, because it's down. So the wind is going to go over your head because you literally have a surround around you, right? So you're not going to be bothered by wind, and wind is what makes majority of the places cold. So you're not going to suffer from any form of extra added coldness, right? Except for the temperature that is naturally there. So I think it would be very easy to survive there, in modern day, seeing that it would be cold. I think so. I don't know, especially with the fact that you could finance all of these things by, allowing people to visit this location. That's what I think. But you guys can let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. Thank you for recommending this video. Really appreciate it. Anyways, man, until next time, I'm out of here. Peace.